I would like to follow up on the chairman and others' questioning on AIG, which now has received over $200 billion in taxpayers' money, 10% of the TARP money, $80 billion from the Fed, and we continue to use taxpayers' dollars to keep AIG from going under. An additional $30 billion was allocated last Monday. Yet, in the words of Fed Chairman Bernanke, he said, and I quote, "This was a hedge fund, basically, that was attached to a large and stable insurance company that made huge numbers of irresponsible bets and took huge losses. There was no regulatory oversight because there was a gap in the system," end quote. Today, it was reported in the press that Hank Greenberg, a former CEO of AIG, has stated publicly that we should separate AIG out from the risky arm that was added to it and move it apart. As Dr. Vaughn pointed out, the insurance arm of AIG is healthy, strong, well-functioning, respected worldwide. It is this risky arm that is pulling us down. And I would suggest that even better than a systemic regulator, which I support, is I would not let these risky functions be tied on to core services that are needed by the American people. When people try to support AIG, it's because of the insurance arm. We need insurance. Our businesses, our people need insurance. But why can't we just separate out this risky arm? And I'd like to begin with Dr. Vaughn, but also add that with $200 billion of taxpayers' dollars in AIG, the American public deserves to know, as does researchers in government and out of government, where did this money go? They are telling us it's systemic risk. But how do we know it's systemic risk if we don't even know where the money went? So I respectfully would like to place in the record a letter that I have continued to request from the Federal Reserve to get this information so that we can make better policy decisions in the future. So my question, beginning with Dr. Vaughn, and anyone can answer, is why not just separate right now, by regulation, just take that risky arm out of it and let the healthy arm continue to serve the American public and the world with a fine insurance product, but let's put this risky arm over on the side. Let's see if that is really systemic risk. Maybe we don't need to be pouring billions in. We put in $200 billion, and once they said they didn't need any money, then they said they needed a certain amount. It keeps going and going and going. And that is my question. And my final question to Mr. Bartlett and others and Mr. Baker is, could we have prevented the crisis that we are in now, our current economic crisis? Do you think that it could have been avoided or mitigated if a systemic risk regulator had been in place during that period? Would that have prevented the crisis that we have? And what I find so upsetting is that 9/11, which was another crisis in our country, I truly do not believe we could have prevented it. But we could have prevented the financial meltdown that we are in today with better regulation and more responsible oversight.